In a world where there's self-doubt and uncertainty that can creep in your mind, it's easy to forget who you are and whose you are. Many people today have low self-esteem and low confidence. But what if we could actually find out who our true identity is and our self-worth in the words of God? Hi, I'm Angeline Edwards. I'm an author, a poet, a speaker, and a lifestyle coach. And today I want to welcome you with my book, I Am Who God Says I Am. This is a journey of discovering 100 ways of accepting your true identity and your self-worth in the Bible. And I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek. Look at those beautiful pages. 100 ways. Today's video is a deep dive in one of the topics. So let's dig in, shall we? It says in the book of Timothy, which is 2 Timothy 1, verse 7, God has not given us the spirit of fear. But what did he give us? Power, love, sound mind. I'd like to discuss the first part, spirit of fear. Did you know that fear is a spirit? Because it says spirit of fear. And the spirit of fear is definitely not of God. So God did not give us this evil spirit. There's only two camps. There's only good or evil. God, the Godhead and Jesus Christ, Satan and his angels. Fear is in this camp. There's timid, there's afraid, there's worry, there's anxiety, there's doubt, there's depression, fear of failure, there's fear of looking foolish, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of not fitting in, and even people pleasing, if you didn't know, is actually a form of fear. Yes, it is. And so God does not want you to operate in those forms of fear because it's not of him. He gave us a sound mind, a mind to operate in love, in his character, and in his power. Because we are to be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So understand that just because you're inexperienced, just because something happened to you, just because someone said something scary to you, or they offended you, or you don't know what to do, you don't know the future, you don't know the outcome, you don't know the certainty, just because of all this doesn't mean you have to be afraid. And when you bow into the enemy, you will feel afraid. So when you understand this, you are operating in weakness. You are operating in your flesh mode, your carnal desires. You're operating in basically attacks from the enemy. And aren't you supposed to resist the devil and he will flee? Well, resist his thoughts that he puts into your mind so that those thoughts will flee. So what happens is that fear stops you in your tracks. Sometimes it makes you frozen. Now, mind you, there is a good sense of fear. Let's not generalize this. There is a fear where you have to fight, right? The flight or fight mode, like a car accident, for example. Okay, that's a different type of fear. I'm not talking about something that you have to take action right away. I'm really talking about the mind type of fear, things that stop you from moving forward, from progressing, from doing what God called you to do, or fear of the unknown, right? Those are the kind of fear. We want to please God, and that comes from faith. The only kind of fear that God really wants you to have is fear of God, and not afraid fear of God, but an awe, a respect, a reverence fear of God. And even that says so in the Bible. So you don't want to be afraid of God. He is your friend. He is your father. He loves you so much. And he wants an intimate relationship with you. So don't be afraid of that. Tell him everything. Talk about everything. Just have discussions with him. Have an experience with him. Let him help you navigate your fears so they become less and less and less until you're walking in this bold, confident version of you. Because fear will stop you from doing the right thing. Fear will stop you from your destiny. Fear will stop you from and prevent you from doing what God wants you to do and progressing forward. So if you have questions, give them to God. He may not answer them all, but don't lack the confidence in him, because our God is mighty. He is able. You don't need to know everything. You just need to trust in him. He knows everything. He knows what he's doing. Just put your faith and trust in him. And a lot of the fear is really unknown fear or perceived perceptions that are not true, maybe negative, maybe from your past, maybe from something that someone said, and on and on. But what you really need to understand is do not be afraid of the outcome. We don't need to know what lies ahead. That's not our business. That's God's job. We just need to know that we are in his love. We are in his care. He said he'll never leave us nor forsake us. And even if we get ourselves in a pickle, God is going to work it out. Even if you created it yourself, you know, the reap what you sow kind of thing, God is going to still work it out for you. Look at Joseph, thrown into prison, first thrown into the pit, sold as a slave, then thrown into prison for doing the right thing. But God got him out every time. And even if your life isn't that drastic, we need to understand that the situation we're in, it didn't catch God off surprise. It doesn't mean that God is not going to help you. Sometimes God is going to come in the situation while you are going through that situation. What am I talking about? Look at the 3 Hebrew boys. They were told if they didn't bow down, they're going to be thrown into a fiery furnace that was going to kill them pretty much instantly. And they even cranked up the furnace 7 times hotter. And they said, we will trust our God. We're good. They had no fear. And God didn't stop the problem. Instead, they entered into the furnace and Jesus met them there. You got to understand. You got to have this no fear attitude. Even if you walk into the situation, let Jesus meet you there. We can't run from, we can't hide. We just got to keep doing the right thing. Just keep trusting in God, keep believing in God, keep living right, keep making the right choices, live your life, live your light, have the righteous actions, and all these good things will be added onto you. Don't worry about the outcome. And don't have this, what if this happens? Or what if they do this? Or what if they say this? All these what ifs is what keeps you stuck. You need to have a sound mind, because the sound mind does not go by what ifs. God's love doesn't operate in what ifs. He will guide you into all things, into all truth. So what fear does, it magnifies the problem that we think is going to happen. And then you live in fear. You're living in doubt. You're living in excuses. And they enslave you and they shackle you spiritually. Maybe not physically, but spiritually. But God's truth will set you free. So you got to have faith, you got to have trust, you got to have truth. And just like that father with the son, say, help my unbelief, God. Help my unbelief. So the good thing about fear is that when you're in danger, like say a car accident, right? And you become afraid, that's an alert system. You know, that's the flight or fight mode. That's a prepared mechanism that God actually built inside of your body. And that's normal, because you need to understand that sometimes in an instant you got to react in a certain way of you understanding danger in advance. And of course, you should say, Lord, help me right at that moment, right? Or God, please help me get out of this situation. Or God, give me an answer, whatever it is. Protect me, whatever. Solve this problem for me, Lord. Lead me, guide me, take over. But always turn to God, even when that defense mechanism comes in. But don't stay in fear, because fear will enslave you. Fear will reveal the problem and magnify it. But instead of looking at the problem, look at the solution. Look at Jesus and let him take away your fear. So that way you could walk in peace. You could walk in harmony. You could walk in obedience to his word. You could walk in confidence, knowing God's got your back. He's going to work things out for good. Have that sound mind and realize with God, you can handle it. Because with God, all things are possible. So leave it up to him. Don't be afraid, my child. Don't be disobedient. Walk in faith, trust, belief, knowing without a shadow of a doubt, God is going to bring you through. And just like Psalms 23, when it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death. Now that's the shadow of death. That's not death itself, but that's showing you death is there. I will fear no evil. That means don't fear the evil. Don't fear the shadow of death. Why? Because thou art with me. Jesus is walking with you in the valley, my friend. Jesus is with you in the fiery furnace. Jesus is with you in the lion's den that shut the lion's mouth, and they said, that's not my dinner. God may have you go through some very interesting experiences, some up, some down, but he's refining you throughout the process. He might be testing your faith. So don't be afraid. Why? Because God is going to get glorified when you pass the test. God is with you within the problem. He is with you in the situation. He is there waiting to hear you when you call. So show yourself that you can call upon the Lord because he is near. He said, draw near, and then let God show himself strong. He's done it before, and he will do it again. He may not remove the problem. He may be in the problem with his presence, and that will solve the problem. So I want you to understand that we must walk in faith and be fearless. Make that your goal today. Make that a point where you're not going to let anything fear you anymore, because you know God is with you, even in the valley. Let's be bold, brave, and fearless. We just concluded one truth of the 100 in this book, of discovering your identity in God's word. And so let this truth really sink deep into your heart, into your soul, into your thoughts, your emotions, your whole life. Now, if this message resonated with you, click the like and then share it to somebody else. Now, as you're reading this empowering book of the 100, wait a minute. Do you have a copy yet? If you don't have a copy of this book, see the link below, okay? So that you can get it for yourself, or you can buy it as a gift, especially a teenager who's really just discovering who they are, or a loved one who's been hurt and they need to be rebuilt back into self-worth or self-esteem in Jesus Christ. It's a gift for anyone. Now, if you want further empowerment and transformational growth other than this 100, then we've also created an online course called I Am More Than Enough. And if you want more, check the link below. Now, did you know that there are more books in this series? This is only one of a plethora that's coming out. So if you want to know what they are and when they're coming out, you have to subscribe, and you got to hit the notification button so that you will know when all this good golden gems are coming out. See you there.